Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Sasquatch Watch Radio with your host, Billy Willard, and the Blog Squatcher. Strap in, hold on tight, get ready, because it is about to go down.
All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Sasquatch Watch Radio. Today is Monday, April 20th, 2009. We've got a good show in store tonight. My name is Billy Willard. I'm the host of the show. I would like to introduce my co-host, the exciting yet very elusive D.B. Donlin.
Exciting and elusive. That almost makes me sound like a Bigfoot.
That's right.
But I'm not.
Okay.
But yet, have you ever seen us together?
That's right.
Me and a Bigfoot. Actually,
I know
no,
a lot of people say that they haven't had a sighting of you, so that's why I thought you were elusive.
Yeah, well, I hide in the woods. I do like to leave stick structures, elaborate stick structures to let people know that I've been around. But okay, that's enough of that.
Yeah.
So tonight, before we get into our main festivities, I do have a couple of items of news. But before I even get into that, I'll just ask, hey, Billy, how are you doing?
I am doing just fine. I am finally recovered. I got me some sleep last night after this expedition, so I feel a little better.
Awesome. And so you were up late every night then?
Yes, we were up late and up pretty early every morning, so.
Oh. Yeah. Well, that sounds like there must have been stuff to do. But we'll get to that in just a minute. For my news items, the first thing I have here comes from Australia, and it comes from a newspaper, and I don't know anything about Australian newspapers. And, in fact, this one, it looks like it's just called www.ntnews.com. So it probably stands for something, but I don't know what it means. But it's a story about a Bigfoot or a Yowie researcher down in Australia who found a footprint near where a lady had her dog have its head ripped off, which, that sounds awful. But he said, and it was a 7-month-old puppy, so it's about the worst thing you can think of.
All right.
The owner thought it was dingoes that did it, which would be, kind of ordinary for Australia. But the researcher, whose name is Andrew McGann, thinks that it was a Yowie that did it. And then they have I guess this is not the footprint from that. Reading this photograph, it says from 1997. So there's a footprint from the same general area from more than 10 years ago at the top of the page, but that's not related to the possible Yowie attack. So anyway, this got into the Australian news, and it's been bounced back and forth across the internet all day today. And I don't know. We do sometimes get reports, and I think there are BFRO reports of Bigfoot being kind of rough with dogs, and sometimes actually killing them.
Yep.
But the only headless dog stories I've ever heard came from a source which turned out to be a hoaxer. So I don't know if we have any authenticated dogs head ripped off by a Bigfoot stories. But if we did, it would be pretty interesting. This is something that I've been talking about on the Blog Squatcher, which is my blog for those of you who may not know that. Is that that's the same kind of stuff we run across here in the United States they have in Australia, which is just it boggles the mind. I mean, why should it be that some animal in Australia would be exactly like some animal in the United States, including, they think that they might have something going on there that has something to do with infrasound. They came up with that theory independently in Australia. They have, they got all the symptoms that we have there. Like you think there's somebody behind you. The hair stands up on your neck, and you can, all the things that we talk about with infrasound. They have going on down there. And if it's the same animal, how do you account for that? So that's one of those things that kind of flips around in my mind quite often. And I know you don't have an answer, Billy, but what do you think about that?
I don't know. I tell you, but I would like to. I would like to tell you something that you were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
We do have word from someone other than the person who hoaxed us that the dog did have their heads ripped off.
Yeah.
And that was.
Yeah, I think I remember that now. It's the same location, but a different person telling the story.
Correct.
Right. And it could be that was the basis for the stories that came later.
Correct. Correct.
And that person who was telling the lies didn't realize that we'd already heard from the first guy, and we would be able to figure out, hey, that's an awful lot of headless dogs for one spot.
That's right.
Must be 7 or 8 dogs without heads there.
That's right.
But I don't remember, but I don't think that person has any pictures of the headless dog.
As far as I know, there's no pictures.
So it's still kind of like undocumented, really. I mean, yeah, his word is good, but we still don't have a good documented case of a dog suffering that injury and it having something to do with Bigfoot. But it's interesting that we think that might be going on here, and they think that might be going on in Australia.
Yeah.
How weird.
That's definitely good.
Well,
we have some listeners that say my sound is getting fuzzy.
Yeah, I've heard some crackling too. So if everybody else is hearing it, it's probably just that you need to move to a different part of your room because you're getting interference from something, or bop that channel thing.
Right. Yeah, it could be anything, but we'll try a different position here and see what happens.
Yeah, I think if you stand on your head,
yes,
and spread your legs out in a big Y, they'll act as antenna for you.
That should work.
And then we'll be able to hear you better.
That should work.
Let me know when you've done it. I want pictures.
All right, I'll turn our webcam on.
Right. We now that I've fooled around so much, I won't give you the other story. I think we've had enough fun with the first one. So let's get into the what happened on the ABS expedition.
All right, we'll get right into it. As everyone may or may not know, the ABS, also known as the American Bigfoot Society, had their first compiled expedition over in Salt Fork State Park in Ohio. This past weekend, there were folks there on Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and we've got a lot of those folks are actually hanging on the line right now, ready to talk about the types of things that went on there. And I tell you, one of the most important things that stood out in my mind when we were there was the cooperation between all the members of the group. It was just fascinating. Everybody completely cooperated with one another, was very well organized, and I just couldn't. I don't think we could have added a group of people. It was just simply amazing. So what I'd like to do at this time is invite the president of the ABS on the air right now, Melissa Harvey. How you doing, Melissa?
Hi, Billy. I'm fine. How are you doing tonight?
Doing just fine. So how about telling everyone, what your take was, the things that you saw that were great, the things that you if you see anything that needs to be worked on, that kind of thing, just let us know.
Well, like you said in the beginning of the program, I was most impressed with the fact that here you have a group of people who, we knew each other on the Internet. Oftentimes, your real personality doesn't come through. These people who, only knew each other from the Internet came together in a large group. We had, 12 people together who had never researched before. You had been in the field before with JC, but I think other than that, I think the majority, I think Jody pretty much, I think he's been in the field before with other people, but I don't think anybody from this group. But, everybody just came together. It was just phenomenal to watch. And in some cases, it was almost as if people already knew exactly what it is that they needed to do, and they didn't even need to be told. You know, they just said, hey, well, how about if I go ahead and do this? And we're like, sounds good.
Right.
So, you know, and I think that we worked well together. Everybody came up with ideas, and, you know, I couldn't be happier with the way everybody acted on that expedition. And when we had things going on, everybody stayed cool and calm and was just interested in figuring out what actually made the noise. And nobody got scared and ran away or, you know, things like that. And, I mean, I was just impressed with the level of professionalism that everyone displayed. I mean, there was not one thing that I could say. You know, I mean, with a new organization, you do have some kinks to work out, you know, like radios, you know, things like that. We still need to work on those types of things. But other than that, I mean, I'd say that everybody really worked well together. And it was, in my opinion, for a first-time expedition with so many new people, I would say it was a very much a success.
Yeah, I have to agree. I was very happy with the way things turned out and the way everyone worked together, and you know, and everybody brought something a little different, you know, to the table as far as their experience. You could tell that some had experience in different areas. And I think when you get a nice group or a great mixture of people together like that, it really makes for a good expedition.
Right.
Now, any highlights of the expedition that you would like to point out, things that was very exciting for you?
I'm sorry, Bill, you're breaking up.
I know. These sorry phones, I promise, folks, I'm buying a new phone system next week. I tell you, these phones are terrible that I bought.
Are you asking me about highlights? You're asking me about highlights of the expedition?
Yeah, what was some of the things that you found? Tell us some of the highlights. There's a lot of things that went on, and there's got to be one thing in particular that you were very excited about.
Yeah, and you know, I am excited about one particular one afternoon. Well, actually, 2 nights, 2 actual different occurrences. One being 2 track finds that were found. I'm not going to go into, you know, great specifics about it, and I'm sure you understand why.
Yep.
But we have 2 tracks that were found and that were casted. And, I mean, I am very excited about these 2, and one in particular. But that and I would say the last night we were in the field. So, I mean, I'll let you talk about that later with the other guys. But, you know, I was really impressed with what happened that final night. I mean, we still don't know what it was, but, I mean, I was impressed with the number of people who were willing to head out after it.
Right.
and you know, and we had people in the group, you know, who, you know, had said before, you know, I'm not going to try to trek into the woods and stuff like this, you know, because at least people are smart enough to admit, you know, that they can't do certain things. But, I mean, everybody by this point was so, you know, wanting, you know, and gung-ho, you know, is just like, but no, you know, you please stay here. But it was interesting, and, I mean, we owe all that, I think, pretty much to JC.
Right.
Because if it wasn't for his prior experience in that specific type of situation, I don't know that we would have gone off and actually, or I don't think it would have been known to any of us. I don't really think anybody would have thought about it. So, but no, I think it was interesting. I mean, I learned a lot about myself. Every time I go out into the field, I learn more about myself. You know, what I can take and what I can handle, and it's a learning experience when you're a city person. You know, I don't spend, you know, a whole lot of time in the woods, or at least I didn't prior to this. So, I mean, every time I go out into the field and I get around new researchers, it's always a learning experience for me, which is another thing that always thrills me. I always learn something new, you know, and so, I mean, that's really important. So that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, I understand that Wayne, I guess, probably has to leave for work here shortly.
Right.
So if you want to go ahead and put him on the line, we'll get some info from him.
I certainly will. He is on his way right now. Hold on.
Good.
Hello.
Wayne, how are you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
We were doing just fine. You're on the phone with me and Mr. DB Donlin. Say hello, DB.
Hello, DB. That's
How
only
you
going to
doing,
be funny.
DB?
I'm fine. How
yeah.
you?
I knew he would do that.
Oh, yeah.
I got that psychic memory, you know.
Yeah, we missed you, DB. Wish you would have been there.
Anyway, Wayne, what
Yeah.
give us some highlights. What were some of the things that you would like to highlight from the expedition? Maybe some things that you may have experienced, or some of the things you'd like to bring out. There was a lot that happened, so don't feel bad. There's going to be plenty of people that's got their own things to share.
Oh, yeah. I first of all, I agree with you guys in how well it went, you know, for basically an entire group of people that have never worked together before in the field, never met each other, let alone worked together in the field, but it went over very well. I mean, it's just like everything gelled right. And, you know, we had a few snags with radios here and there as far as communication, but, you know, we worked through that and worked around it, and everything went good. But, I mean, the Saturday night event was a pretty good highlight. I'm glad JC walked back over there because that was pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like Melissa said, the track finds were pretty interesting. I mean, especially in the place we found them. You know, it was not to say that it wasn't accessible, but you know, it was pretty inaccessible for most people. Or most.
Well,
You know.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the highlight, just so that everyone understands, these two track finds, you know, were not all just off of a trail. I mean, they weren't. You know, this was an area that we had walked to based on something else we were looking at, and I would say that we were at least 300 feet away from any trail. In the woods, no game trail, no nothing. I mean, we were just walking through the woods. My memory serves me, had heard a noise, which is what originally made us walk in that direction.
Yeah.
And I know Jody had found, you know, the other guy. The other guy had found the first print there in the kind of in the creek there area, and then of course you had wandered around up along the bank, and probably 20 feet away had found the what we now believe probably is a knuckle print.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I was scouring the whole area for more after we found that first one.
Right.
And, yeah, it was only about 20 feet away, and the funny thing was I was walking back to you guys, you know, getting ready to sit down and take a break, when I just looked down, and there it was.
Right.
Clear as a bell, too. That's what I liked about it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you could see digits. That was very exciting for me, because I have never, in Virginia the whole time, I've never found anything that had clear digits. And I was extremely excited. So,
yeah, I was really couldn't wait to see what it looked like once we got it cast.
Right. So, yeah, that was definitely an exciting time. I'm going to see who else we got hanging on the line, because I don't want them to think that they're hanging aimlessly out there. Who is this we got at 419 area code? 419, who do we have?
It's Indy.
Okay, Indy, I'll put you back on mute, buddy. I forgot.
All right.
Okay.
Hey, I have a question real fast.
Okay, go ahead, DB.
And when you guys asked, you said you wished I had been there. I actually answered you, but I had slipped it back on mute, and so that's why there was that moment of silence. Which I'm like, what the? But yeah, my finger's on this mute button all the time. Sometimes it slips when I'm not thinking about it. Okay, so my question is this: there were some other organizations that had an inkling that we were going to be in Salt Fork. So what did you do to rule out that those tracks had been set there deliberately for you to find, so that later on they could say, "Ha, we fooled you, that's not real tracks, blah, 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 blah"?
Who's that question to?
Well, either one of you, whoever wants to take it. Maybe neither of you wants it.
Well, we certainly can't rule that out.
Yeah.
However, the likelihoods of the one print that we found was roughly about 6 inches in length. Not the typical hoaxing print. If someone is trying to hoax a print, usually they'll go for a big old whopping 16, 17-inch footprint.
Right. Something impressive.
Right, exactly. So this wasn't anything large, first of all. Second of all, if it is what we think the possibility is, and it is a small print, then interesting enough, that could be pretty fascinating. Mm-hmm. And it'd be very unlikely that anyone would hoax a print like that. And not only that, not too many people, I think, go completely out of the way to be so far off trail and expect anyone's going to find anything.
Right.
I mean, this was in a deep cut ravine. It actually took quite some effort to even get down there. So it's probably unlikely that someone went down there and placed that.
Oh, and they weren't prints that jumped right out at you.
Right.
It wasn't like a clear-cut print in a mud, in perfectly placed mud. There was a lot of litter involved with it, leaf litter and stuff like that. But that's like what Billy said. It's possible. You always got to withhold that possibility, but I would say unlikely.
Right.
Yeah. Well, people might ask that question, and now we have an answer for it.
Right.
And it actually does sound to me like that would be a pretty remote possibility that would be where they would set the hoax, way back in the woods in a ravine. It's hard to get into, and then you put down a baby footprint. Although now that we're talking about this could happen next time. But
yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Before now, I mean, so what's the payoff in putting a little print in the woods? Not much. All right. Well, go on with your conversations. I'll put myself back on mute, and let me know when you want to have the questions.
Okay. Who do we have at 651?
Hey guys, it's just the elusive one here. I just called to listen in.
Oh, okay. I'll put you right on the mute then.
Thank you.
All right. Who do we have at the 513 area code?
It's Jody.
Hey, there's the other guy.
The other guy.
How
you doing?
Pretty good.
All right. Jody, well, I tell you what, I'm just going to have you hang on. Wayne, was there anything else? Because I know you got to leave to go to work. Is there anything else that you wanted to bring out before you had to start getting ready for work?
Oh, not anything I can think of off the top of my head. Just can't wait for the next round. I mean, I had a great time with everybody, and I'm really looking forward to doing this again.
Yeah, it was. It really was great. And I'm looking forward to the next one, too. And we do have that planned. We obviously ain't going to say where. But, we do have that planned for the month of July, I believe.
Isn't the next one in Russia?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
So, all right, Wayne. Well, thanks so much for sharing that with us.
Okay, guys.
And now that I have this famous other guy on the line, how are you doing there tonight?
Pretty good, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. By the way, it was a pleasure being out there with you as well. We had the opportunity to room with Jody. I don't know if that was really good or bad, but it was definitely a good time, and we had fun kind of joking around and listening to each other snore and laugh about it.
Oh yeah, JC. Yeah. No, but I mean, I had a really good time. I mean, it was just I was really impressed how everybody, like you said, we're all from different organizations, and and we were able to get out there and we worked perfect, like a well-disciplined unit in the field. It was just fantastic. Everybody got along great, and everybody knew exactly what we had to do, and we did it. And Mel did a really good job, out there, keeping us online and and stuff. She really didn't have to sit there and tell us too much what we needed to do because everybody knew how to do it. Right. But like I said, with the prints that were found, like you said, we stumbled on them, and you had to be out there, and it was in a really wooded area to get to. And, the first track that I found, I mean, there's details about that track that, will come out later, but it's just, that made that very unique, And with the other track that we found a little bit up the hill, there are very unique, parts about that track.
Right.
And things, but like I said, I think the highlight was Saturday evening.
Yeah.
That was the ultimate highlight, because I think everybody's agenda was running, there and and things. So yeah, it was good. And like I said, JC just happened to be over at the right time, and things. So.
Yeah. Let's. I tell you, you had gotten, and tell me if you want to talk about this or not, but you had gotten a phone call, I believe, about something there. And do you care to talk about that at all?
Yeah, I got a call from a independent researcher up there that called about this structure that was found. About I guess it was probably about maybe 75 yards, off the picnic area there. And he said there was a structure that was found. He was out there for like 3 weeks, and each time he came by it, more and more of the structure was being built. And he wanted my opinion on it because of the one that was found in Akron, what was shown on Monster Quest and things. So we just happened to stumble across it when we were up there. And my personal view and opinion on it's man-made. Because like I said, there was, they took some of that bark and they were making square knots, when they were tying some of the stuff in there. So, but that's my opinion. But I mean, they put a lot of effort in putting this thing together.
Right.
And things, and it's just right off the trail, so you can't miss it. So when someone's walking the trail, they're going to run into it. And I think it was done purposely.
Right. Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, looking at the thing, it's there's just so many different signs to indicate that someone had put that thing together, and it's a shame, but hey.
Oh yeah, well we know there was another organization that was out there prior to us being out there, and then also being out there at the time that we were there.
Right. And I saw earlier Craig Woyder said the ABS is no more. That's not true, Craig. We're still going strong and hard. So there hasn't been any changes. We're still going. If anyone else wants to call in, Toby or anyone else who's listening in, I haven't seen anybody else try to phone in. The phone number is 347-237-5070. Again, it's 347-237-5070.
But Saturday.
No, I want to ask something real quick.
Sure.
Nancy, no, we're not saying that you did that at all. We are not saying you did that at all. In fact, no. Nancy really had. She told us about it when we got up there. Okay.
Right. But no, we're not saying no. Nancy had nothing to do with that. It's just So don't worry. You're total innocent. So don't think anything bad.
Right.
Well, I think in fact, didn't we receive word that there was actually someone building multiple structures around the park?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there were reports of more than one.
Well, it was weird because when you're pulling out of the picnic area, I noticed I drove by it real slow and I saw it. There's one sitting right off to the left of there, and you're able to see it when you're driving off. And I noticed it sitting right there. There was another one that was made. So yeah, someone's doing a lot of effort on putting structures up. But like I said, this one was. I mean, I was fascinated with it because it was really unique and it was done very well.
But
like
I said, huge too. It was.
Yeah, it was huge. Yeah, well, it was 12 feet high and 18 feet across.
Yeah.
So it was like I said, it took more than one person to do it, and there was a lot of effort in doing it and things. But well, I wanted to mention that the incident that happened Saturday night. I think Toby was down at the hill before I even got off the radio with him, calling him down because he flew down so fast and lost all of his equipment in the field there coming down. I mean, that's how hyped this situation was. And well, you're going to talk more about it.
We'll talk more about that. DB, my understanding is you've got. I've seen you telling some people that you've got some questions, so I don't want to leave you hanging there.
I got a couple from Kite Squatch. He wanted to know, and maybe you wouldn't be able to answer this, but he wants to know what part of Salt Fork were you at?
Who's the question for?
Well, anyone of you.
Anybody? Okay. We were in the picnic area, which was I guess they call it the handicap picnic area, because it has a sign there that says picnic area with a handicap sign. So I think the majority of sightings actually took place in that particular area, because that seems like that's where everybody, most researchers go up in that area.
Right.
Not to mention, if people actually picnic there and they leave their food around, that would be a draw for whatever animals are in the park.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, we thought that this thing was down there waiting for us to leave in order to go up to the dumpster, because we ended up grilling out there, and because it stayed there for quite some time. I mean, throughout the whole night we heard it. You heard this, the grunts and stuff that it was making, and the smell. I mean, everybody smelled the smell. So it was close. So whatever. I mean, whatever it was. Huh?
Did you guys get those grunts recorded?
Some of the researchers out there did have portable voice recorders. So I mean, a lot of that stuff is still going through at this time. So.
Yeah, there's a bunch of recordings to go through. I had my parabolic mic system set up. I got to go through mine. I know some others had some equipment as well.
Right.
So we got a lot of listening to do.
Well, there's where we found the prints at. Myself and Sally was sitting on the side of the hill there. And I mean, we both, as clear as day, heard a roar. I mean, it was very loud, because it shook, and it was just right at the top of the hill there. And I know Wayne, heard grunts and roar, like a roar and stuff on the top of the hill there. And I mean, they were extremely, pretty loud. Right. By the time we went up there, I mean, we really didn't see nothing, but we definitely heard something.
All right, let me.
And I just want to say something so everybody kind of knows where the other guy, the name of the other guy coming from, because you know this as well as I do. Everybody up there at Salt Fork, who's working there and things like that, say, "Hey, you're the other guy from Monster Quest. You're the other guy. You're the other guy." So it became a joke up there. So that's why I went ahead and changed it to the other guy.
Yeah, we decided that we would just pick on him. We picked on him all weekend long.
Yeah. Well, they all know who Don was. But they just knew me.
Everybody
knows who Don is, but they just knew me as the other guy. So
it was actually funny, and Don's listening in. Don, it was hilarious. We were just busting on him all weekend.
I'm sitting at the restaurant, and that girl comes up and says, "Hey, you're the other guy." Oh yeah, we know Don. He's up here all the time.
Yeah.
But you're the other guy.
Yeah,
that's right.
But I'm the other guy. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. DB, was there any other questions?
Well, Kite Squatch did ask this, and some of you answered him on the chat, but maybe there are other answers to me. He wanted to know if there were any pictures posted, and maybe if there would be any pictures posted later about from the expedition.
Oh yeah, yeah. Right now, there's tons of photos, but here before too much longer, we will release photographs and a full report to the general public. So,
yep.
Hopefully before long. We need to get all the audio listened to, and if there's anything interesting, we need to have that analyzed, and we need to have the tracks looked at, or the castings looked at, and get an opinion. And first of all, let me say, I want to apologize to Mr. Keating, because he was there one of the nights, and it was after the casts were done, and I wanted to tell him about the cast because I was pretty happy. That was my first actual in the field find for a track, and to be casted. So I wanted to tell him, but at the same point, I wanted to be reserved because I didn't know for sure what we had actually casted. So I hadn't had a chance to clean them fully or anything like that. So I wanted to hold off until I knew something more than what we had, other than a piece of plaster covered with mud. And it actually took them quite a while to dry out well enough to clean them fully. So in fact, I'm still cleaning today. So it'll probably be something I'm gonna be doing for a while.
Yeah.
So.
All right, let's see here. We've got some more people hanging on. Let's see who we got. Area code 920. Who do we have?
This is Toby. Hi, guys.
Hey, Toby.
Hey, Toby.
All right.
Sorry I got on here late. I did not catch anything that was said so far, so keep that in mind when you're talking or asking questions.
We didn't say nothing about the incident with you and the leprechaun in the field.
Right.
Okay, good. I hope let's keep that under wraps for a while if we could.
That would be good. So, and also, let me see who this is at the 740 area code.
What's up, guys?
Who do we got here?
Keating.
Keating, what's going on, man?
What's up? Hey,
Glad
couple
you came
things.
on.
You bunch of bozos. First off, now Billy and JC and Jody and Dave and Phil.
No,
you guys
you
know
got that wrong, Don.
No, wait a minute. No, that was our little group that was down there talking Friday night. So you know that I'm outspoken when I'm out in the woods, off of the phone, not doing an internet radio show or whatever. But Melissa, what the Sam Hill was this that you didn't show me plaster castings?
Well, first of all, Don, I didn't have them cleaned, and we didn't have them with us when you showed up. We had no idea when you were going to show up. I thought you were supposed to be calling Billy.
Oh, I did call Billy. Must not have told you.
Yeah, so, that really isn't my fault. And, I think that you'd probably be more upset with me if I was throwing out stuff that wasn't real. I mean, we don't want another Skookumcast incident, no, do we?
No, we're not going to go Skookumcast, but, but in all seriousness, I don't know how long you've been doing research, Mel, and I really don't care. But one little bit of advice I might toss out to you, if you don't mind, is that when you take plaster castings of footprints, if they are good tracks, when you take the plaster cast and you get them out of the ground, I don't know what method you're using to clean those plaster castings, but in the future, if they're good casts, or if they're good tracks, you take castings of them, don't use anything on those casts that may manipulate the look of them. In other words, like with dermal ridges, because Grover Krantz told me a long time ago, he said, if you find tracks in the ground that have dermal ridges on them, one thing you might want to do is either put a lot of powder or a lot of extra plaster of Paris into the ground, not after it's been mixed, but in the powder form, and then put it in there, pour your casting, and then take the cast out, and whatever dirt dries or mud dries, let it fall off naturally or gingerly pick it off. I'm presuming that's what you're doing, is gingerly picking it off.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I allow the cast to dry, and I don't remove anything that doesn't come off easily. I have a really nice brush that I use. It's not hard, it's like a medium strength brush. It's not so tight that it will brush on the plaster and ruin it. And
right.
I use a couple different things to actually clean the cast itself, so that I don't dig into the surface of the cast. It's a slow process. I had one person say to me this weekend, he would say, I look like an archaeologist cleaning off a T-Rex bone. That's what I felt like. Today my neck and back are killing me. But you know what? I mean, when it's all done, I think it's going to be worth it. But, any ideas you have that might make it easier to clean this, or anything that you do I'm always open to suggestions. So.
Yeah. Well, some people would tell me to kiss their what, and that's fine.
I'm not like that. I'm not like
that. I didn't think you were, but after 26 years, I've had more than one person tell me that, and they can go kiss their own rear end as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But
Don cracks me up.
I learned a long time ago to pay attention to people who've been doing something longer than you have. So. And my dad always told me to respect my elders.
Billy, what's so funny about that? I'm serious.
I know you're serious, Don, but you're always.
Yeah.
It's funny because you're so straightforward, and when you're straightforward like that, it just gets me laughing.
I suppose that's one of the things I learned off of Rene DeHinden.
I know.
I hated DeHinden's freaking guts for a long time because he was always so nasty to me. And then I met him out at Vancouver, BC in 1997, and after I left, I thought, there's my second father. By God, I'm going to take out with him, and that's just the way it is. I don't pull any punches anymore. I'm tired of, if people want me to kiss their rear ends to be their friends, they can kiss my rear end and walk away. That's all there is to it.
Well, we do appreciate you coming out. I think a lot of people were glad when you stopped out there because, we certainly thank you because you really helped. Right. You really helped us to prepare ourselves to where we needed to go. And
right.
I think we would have cooperation up there.
Yeah. Well, I'll just leave you with one or two other closing comments, which ought to be doozies. But no, they're not going to be that bad.
Okay.
It's not that bad. Trust me. Right, Billy? Anyway.
That's right.
No, hey, whenever you guys get a chance, if you're willing to, I would like to see photographs of the footprints and the plaster castings. I won't publish them in the newsletter or anything, but I would like to see them.
Yeah, in fact, I'm looking into once I've gotten this all cleaned and I've gotten the commentary back from who is the person that's going to be examining both casts. I'm going to have molds made of the cast, and I was going to offer to send you copies of both.
Okay, that'd be fine.
Along with photographs as well.
Okay, well, I will say that it was nice to finally meet some faces behind the names or the voices, on these internet shows. I don't think any differently of you guys now as compared to what I did before I met you.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
Well, I'll leave that up to you to decide. But the one thing that I will say that was a lot of fun out there was the bantering back and forth with Cook. I mean, what I should have done, long time ago, Peter Byrne, he borrowed 3 or 4 of our game cameras, and he took them over to India to do research on the elephants over there and the tigers. And he got some really fantastic photos when he was over there. So when he came back, he gave Larry Lund a nice gift for me as a token of appreciation for us allowing him to take the cameras with him and take them over to Nepal and use them in the field. So Larry came, or I take it back, Ray Crow. So Ray came to my conference in 1999, and he presented me with this gift. And what the gift was a handmade knife handle along with a handmade knife that the natives do over there and sell to the tourists. And this thing is fantastic. I mean, the blade itself is probably 2 to 2.5 inches top to bottom. It's probably every bit of 12 to 14 inches in length, plus the handle. And it has a really nice leather carrying case with it.
Sheath.
That you can, the sheath. That's what I thought it was, but I don't want to make myself look like a total a-hole on the air. But and Peter gave me that, and as a token of appreciation. So the only thing I wish I would have done was brought that with me Friday night, so that I could have kept Cook in line.
Oh God!
I don't know. Jody had a pretty big one strapped to his back. I don't know.
I thought that was
a big one.
All right, folks, I'm going to let you go. I don't want to take up too much of your airtime. I will be, by the way, tomorrow night I'm going to be on the show with I think it's called the Bigfoot Quest with Mike and Bob.
Yep.
So if you want to call in and give me all kinds of guff, have at it.
All right.
Nice meeting y'all. Nice seeing you guys again, and I will see you within the next 2 weeks at the conference.
All right.
All righty.
Later.
Later.
Take care.
And Eric, buddy, if you're still in there, you are correct. Eric Altman is the one who told us about that handicap area because Eric had a sighting there at the handicap area. Eric, you know I ain't going to leave you out, man. You know better than that. Let me get, I think we got the Bigfoot Encyclopedia, Henry May, on the line. How you doing, Henry?
Hey, guys.
How you doing?
Melissa.
Hi.
Hey, Jody.
Hey. How you doing?
I tell you what, it's hard to follow up. It's hard to follow the Bigfoot bulldog.
Yo, Don.
You gotta be careful with that, Henry. He told us in the field that he don't know who coined him on that name, that he'd like to kick their butt.
Uh-oh.
Oh, the other guy? Yeah. I think Don started that, but I'm not gonna say nothing.
Well, anyway, I wanted to ask, what sort of techniques did you guys use when you were in the field this weekend?
I'll tell you what, since Toby hasn't had a chance to speak, Toby, how about telling us what you did out in the field?
I didn't quite hear that question. Could you repeat it?
Henry wants to know what kind of techniques we used when we were out in the field. And I figured that would be a good question for you because I know that you were doing a lot of stuff.
Well, for the most part, Pappy was my research partner for the weekend, and we would just set up in an area that was fairly clear, that was adjacent to some heavier areas due to the night vision equipment we were using. As most of you know who use that type of equipment, if you're in real thick areas of woodlands, you just get so much washout from the NV. You can't see 10 feet in front of you with it. So we were pretty fortunate on Friday and Saturday night to find these types of areas where we had good range of probably 30, 40 yards in all directions. So we would set up in the middle of that. We had high-quality audio recorders going, and basically we were trying to sit as quiet as possible, hoping something would come through our pathway or in our line of sight so we could get the NV on them. But I think Saturday night was really the ideal situation. Our base camp, or our the spot where the operations were being coordinated, was up on the hill, and in that particular area, people were talking, having, conversation that did carry down into the valleys and ravines around there. So if any creatures were stimulated by that or were curious enough to maybe wander up to check that out, there was a good possibility they would come through the areas where the researchers were, which was, down in these ravines. So I thought that was a really good technique. But overall, as far as Joe and I were concerned, we were sitting as quiet as possible, just listening and hoping that we were able to catch something with some night vision, which, we caught a raccoon. That was about it. So I hope that answers your question, Henry.
Yep.
Yeah, it does. That's very interesting stuff. And also, what made you choose Salt Fork as far as for the expedition?
Well, I guess a lot of that had to do with the fact that Ohio's sort of currently it's sort of a central location for the membership, or the majority of the membership. We do have members that are farther out. But for the most part, it was sort of a central location. I had been there in the past with Eric Altman and the folks from the PBS, and of course, being up there during the conference, knowing about all the past sightings and stuff. But I tell you what, I have to admit that I believe that the Monster Quest episode up there has really, really brought a lot of people out there. I mean, I was just amazed at how many people were there on a Thursday night of all time. So,
yeah, that was real amazing. Friday night and Saturday night were particularly bad with other researchers coming into the area, but just Friday night alone, just in the parking lot, getting ready to go, gearing up, we had like 4 or 5 guys stop up there.
Yeah.
And it was just like, And I didn't get Steve on, but I would say that he probably needs to work on his public relations in the general area, because every single person I talked to had something bad to say about him. But that's a whole other deal. I'm sure there's jealousy involved, and there's competition for who's the best researcher in Ohio and everything like that. But that was just something funny to notice. I had no idea who these people are. They would tell me their name, and I've never heard of them before. But yeah, I mean, Friday night, we had actual other groups on our radio channel, and it was just impossible to get around. At one point, I saw 4 different flashlights walking around in the woods from our area, and so it was a little frustrating. But I guess you have to come to expect that in that area.
Yeah. Now, we did meet, there was a couple people out there that I met that I've been out in the field with, one being Blue Tracker. He was there. Phil Bracco was there. I know both of them. Nancy was there from West Virginia, which, Nancy, thank you for that big hug. You kind of caught me by surprise. It was really funny because Nancy was kind of going around and saying, who's this and who's this, and then she flashed the light on me and says, who are you? And I said my name, and she just came up and gave me a hug. And I was like, wow, I need to go around and tell everybody who I am more often.
Oh, that's funny. Well, anyway, guys, I'm going to take off, and thanks for answering my questions, and I'm looking forward to seeing most of you, those of you who are going to be in Ohio in about a week and a half.
Yep, we'll be there. Most of us, anyway.
Yep.
Thanks for calling in,
all
Henry.
Right. No problem, guys. Y'all have a good one.
Bye, Henry.
Bye, Melissa.
All right, DB, you've been too quiet for me, man. I can't stand it. Do you have any questions over there on your end?
I haven't noticed any come by. I haven't been glued to the chat room, though. My little 4-year-old came in and roused me a little while ago.
Uh-oh.
Thankfully, I had the mute on, so y'all didn't have to hear that. But
okay. Just wanted to check
she had to have Daddy right now.
That's right. Sometimes that's important.
Uh-huh.
Everything to the little kids is important right now.
That's right.
So, know how that is.
But no, I haven't seen any questions.
Okay, very good. Well, I'll tell you what, we're down to about 36 minutes left of the show. What I'm going to do real quick is cut off into a commercial break so that I can get me a drink here and whistle wetten my whistle so that we can all start discussing what happened Saturday night, because I thought that was pretty exciting. So we will go to a quick commercial, and then when we come back, we'll go in a little bit to what happened Saturday night. We'll be right back.
You are listening to Sasquatch Watch Radio. Stay tuned. Don Keating, the Eastern Ohio Bigfoot Investigation Center, and the Tri-State Bigfoot Study Group are proud to announce the return of the world's longest-running Bigfoot Conference to Ohio the weekend of May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, 2009. The 21st Annual Bigfoot Conference returns to Salt Fork State Park Convention Center and Lodge located in Guernsey County, just outside of Cambridge, Ohio. Festivities for the weekend event kick off May 1st with a meet and greet gathering with guest speakers, fellow researchers, and enthusiasts in the first floor lounge at 8 p.m. Saturday, May 2nd is the date for the 21st Annual Bigfoot Conference to be held in the first floor conference room and will run from 4 to 10 p.m. with an hour break for dinner. This year's tentative guest speaker lineup includes Diane Stocking from Portland, Oregon, Billy Willard from Manassas, Virginia, and from TV's Monster Quest producer Doug Hychek, with additional speakers to be announced. No admission charge is anticipated, however, reserved seating is available for purchase. The three-day event wraps up on Sunday, May 3rd, as Don Keating will host an afternoon guided tour of various sighting and track discovery locations throughout Salt Fork State Park. Special accommodation rates are available for those interested by contacting the Salt Fork State Park Lodge at 740-439-2751 and ask for the Bigfoot Conference Special. Additional information is available by emailing Don Keating at eobic@yahoo.com or by visiting the website at eobic.net. Mark your calendars and make plans now to attend the world's longest running Bigfoot Conference by coming to the 21st Annual Bigfoot Conference, May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, 2009 at the Salt Fork State Park in southeastern Ohio.
Welcome back, everyone. By the way, that great commercial for the Ohio Conference was done by Mr. Eric Altman, and I thank him for the great job that he done on that commercial. And I guess I have to do it since I've sort of been paid. John Cartwright is the world's greatest Bigfooter, so there you go. Y'all have it.
Yeah. Hey, wait. Where's my cut?
Where's my cut for having to listen to that?
Right. We should be paying more because we had to listen to it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Anyway, you'll get me later for that. We have, let me see who this is real quick because they've been holding very patiently. Area code 440, you're on the air.
Hello?
Hello. Yep.
Oh, sorry, dudes. I'm
Who is
just
this?
listening. I'm on the road. I was just listening to the show.
Oh, not a problem. We will keep you right on the mute and you keep on listening.
Cool.
Thanks a lot.
You're
all right. So we got about 3 callers just listening on the line. That's great.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, let's get right into it. Jody, I didn't ask you earlier. Jody, what was there any highlight of the expedition that really stuck out in your mind that, something that you enjoyed or something that you thought was great?
Like I said earlier, it's just the fact of how everybody was able to, get along and, work together with, no problem. The biggest highlight, like I said, was Saturday evening. Right. I mean, that was the biggest.
Right.
it was intense. I enjoyed it. So, yeah, but like I said, just the whole weekend, the whole time we were down there was excellent.
Right.
Everybody worked together real well. I mean, this is what needs to be done in the whole Bigfoot field, community. It's, people from different organizations able to work together and, and things. I mean, we had some fun down there, and stuff, joking and stuff like that. But like I said, it's just it was good that everybody was able to work together.
Yeah, I have to agree. And Melissa, since you're on the line, there may be some out there listening that may want to join up, join the ABS or whatever. How can they do that?
Well, they can fill out a membership application form by going to the American Bigfoot Society.com and clicking on the tab that says membership.
Yep.
So it's real simple.
Yep.
And we're also willing to answer questions if you have any. You can email me at melissa.hovey@yahoo.com. Billy, why don't you throw out your email address?
Yeah, my email address is bwillard, BWILLARD, @sasquatchwatch.net.
And I think it's important to note, too, that we're interested in more than just those who want to or are willing to get into the field. I mean, we're interested in people who can analyze audio, can research information on the Internet. I mean, if you're good at researching articles and things like that, hey, or if you're good with technical stuff, we're definitely looking for you. So.
Okay, Bruce, nobody denied your membership. I see you out there. Just because you eat 32-ounce steaks doesn't mean that we're going to deny your membership.
No.
He's out there telling stories.
I don't remember seeing that name.
What we would do is we would just make him pay more to be a member to cover the cost of the steaks he's going to eat.
That's right.
Wow.
He's just upset because his little diner was closed down there.
Oh, that was a shame, too. That was a good place to eat.
That really is.
Yeah.
This guy comes packing a 32-inch steak. I might have to grab a fork and knife and push him out of the way. That's my favorite meal. We had a good fire going, too. Billy got really good and covered with the smell of food.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that pretty much leads up to our next little happening. That day, it was Melissa's idea to have the cookout up on top of the hill there at the handicap area. So everybody had pitched in. We had hamburgers, hot dogs, we had brats.
Brats.
Brats. Okay. So, see, all right. I told you all I had no experience with brats, so I just put them on there and cooked them. And I looked over, and Wayne said, "When the juice is running out of them, they're done." I said, "Good. Okay."
No.
So we're sitting up there cooking out, and
you forgot the s'mores.
Yep, and the s'mores. Yep. Of course, the s'mores don't put off too much of a smell. I don't think.
Okay, fine.
But Melissa said she couldn't have a cookout without s'mores, so we had to have s'mores.
Yep.
So after that, we pretty much all proceeded to go down to our areas. We all had certain areas that we had set up in. The area that we set up in, I actually set up with JC in a certain area because JC had heard something the night previous in this ravine area off the backside of the handicap area, which was closest to the dumpster. So, knowing JC like I do, I said, JC, you're right. Let's set up over there, and that's what we did. And then Melissa, who was it with you guys?
Well, it was me and Wayne and I were going to walk trails. And then
right.
Linda and Sally were going to head up the base camp.
Okay. And then I think we had Beast and Kelly.
Right.
It's kind of hard to picture this, but they would have been to mine and JC's right side in the wood.
Right.
and then of course Toby and
Pappy.
Yep. They were out. My understanding was a little bit further from them,
right
down in the ravine. So I mean, we had people pretty much everywhere covering the area. JC and I wasn't in the woods very long before we started hearing something. It sounded like at one point it had gotten to the point where it sounded like an elephant coming up through the woods. And we waited. We had our lights ready. I had the camera set for night shot, and we let it get closer and closer and closer to the point where we were certain that the thing was, whatever it was literally on top of us. We turned the lights on, and the moment we turned the lights on, everything stops. We have no more sound, no more movement, no nothing. We're shining the lights. We're not seeing anything. So we stay there for a couple more hours and nothing. I mean, other than some slight movement, hearing things moving from our left over towards the right. We thought that it was going towards the folks to our right, and they started hearing things too. Other than that, I mean, it was relatively quiet. So it was after that we had kind of went back up on the hill and everybody kind of regrouped. And on our way out, JC turned to me and he goes, "Do you smell that?" And I said, "Yeah, I do." And what it smelled like was like a real, or to me, now everybody may have a different opinion, but to me, it smelled like urine. Where if you've ever been around a place where like a dog or something just pees all the time and it's like several weeks old, that's what it smelled like to me. So we all went back and regrouped, and as we were doing that, JC was kind of walking around, and he started smelling it again. So I think it was at JC's urging that we all decided, you know what, maybe there's something to this, and we need to check this out. So we all headed back down to the woods. Now, we didn't have Toby. Toby and them, I think, were still out in the woods, correct?
Right, they were on their way back.
Right. So we had went back down into the wood line, the same area where we were set up. So as we get down there, everyone's got we have lights, and we're kind of fanning the lights back and forth. I think the first person, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think the first person to see what appeared to be eye shine was Jody. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And we kind of saw the direction, so we kind of moved down a little bit. And then the second time we saw it, I believe it was Melissa.
Yeah.
Okay. And at the same time she saw it, I saw it at the same time, and I took off down the hill, straight in the direction. I was going down through there as quickly as I could without tripping because it's a pretty steep ravine. There's logs, there's ravine, there's all kinds of stuff there. And I guess probably about halfway between where I saw it and where I had started, I had my headlight on my head, had the light on. And as I'm going down through there, all of a sudden I see this stick. It's going end for end like it was lobbed and lands right in front of me. So I stop. And then when I, obviously it grabbed my attention. I'm looking at the stick, and I assumed this thing must have just darted. It got our attention off of it, and it took its opportunity to take off, whatever it is. Now, I don't know what can throw a stick. I kind of joked around with my mom, and my mom seemed to think, well, maybe a bear threw it. I said, well, I don't know if a bear can throw a stick, but I know that I think Jody and Melissa, you both saw the stick, right?
I think it was
it was Wayne.
Wayne. Me and Wayne saw it.
Okay. Because I know somebody wasn't too far behind me.
Yeah, I was right behind you, but I was looking at the ground trying to make sure I didn't trip over all the briars and stuff going down this hillside. So
right.
I didn't see it, but Wayne did.
Now, Melissa came down and asked a little bit afterwards as we were all standing there trying to figure out what had just happened. Melissa had come down beside of me, and Melissa, I want you to tell everybody what you told me.
Well, I mean, it made me a little curious because where Billy and I both seen the eye shine was to our right, about our 1 o'clock. And then when we went down after that, Jody's seen it. Jody's seen eye shine off to, 11 o'clock, which is in a different area. And we get down there, and we're like, where we were and where Jody said he's seen the eye shine and where Billy and I seen the eye shine was, and where we were standing there was smack dab in the center of both of these spots where we were seeing eye shine. And nobody was saying whether or not they heard the first set actually take off. So I was a little confused, and I was standing there, and I was thinking about the situation, and I walked up to Billy, and I said, I don't feel good about this. Something about this just didn't sit right with me. And, I mean, 'cause, you know, we weren't sure as to what we were actually trying to find out there. I mean, it could have been a bear, but, you know, the stick throwing thing kind of threw me. I've never been party to that before. So that, you know, but then, I mean, I walked up to Billy and I said, Billy, I got a bad feeling about this. That's all I could say because, you know, and then I can't remember exactly what it was you said.
I think I just simply said, well, it's okay. Because I mean, personally, I was thinking we were dealing with one creature, and I think I said to you, I said, well, we've got it outnumbered.
Right, and then I said, what if there's two?
Right.
I was like, because I mean, the way it was just seeming to play out, just in my head, I had all those other stories of, you know, what people have said before about, you know, about how one will try to distract, you know, and if this is, you know, the target animal. And I think when the stick came flying out of nowhere, I mean, the stick wasn't coming, from what I was hearing from Wayne and from you, it wasn't coming at a trajectory that said that it was dropping from a tree. It was a straight line throw.
Correct.
So, I mean, you seen it. It was coming at you, Billy, and Wayne witnessed it. So, I mean, that wasn't dropping from a tree. And we have independent verification coming from Wayne. So, I mean, that made me a little uneasy. I mean, there could have been somebody down there, but if this was a person messing with us, they had to have had night vision to strap on their head, because I can't imagine anybody hiking that ravine and making it out alive if they weren't carrying a flashlight, and whatever this was not carrying a flashlight. There was no light other than the eye shine that we seen.
Right, and what I seen, because people were asking what color the eye shine was, what I seen, I couldn't distinguish a color, so to me it just looked like a flash of white.
That's what
same here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
that's what I saw.
I mean, I got to tell you, I mean, I'm still a little, I mean, you know me, Billy. I mean, I'm the last person to try to attribute anything to this animal, but and I'm still not going to. But at the same point, you know, it had me a little nervous. And you know, at one point, halfway down, I said to Wayne later, I really didn't, you know, when I caught the smell up by the pavilion coming, you know, on the back edge of it, when I caught the smell, it made my sinuses burn.
Right.
And I mean, at that point though, I was pretty psyched to find out what it was, along with the rest of you, and I followed down with you, not thinking about it really. And then I told Wayne later, I said I got up halfway down, and I thought to myself, what the heck am I doing?
Right.
So I mean, that's not like me to do that, but I mean, but it was an interesting situation. I mean, I can't say that I've ever been. The only thing that I can compare it to was, you know, that one time that I had out in Skookum. So. Right.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. It was, you know, if anyone's been out there, I'm sure that everyone knows it's kind of like it does give you like a rush of adrenaline when it all kind of occurs and kind of gets you excited. But I think that's normal with anybody when you have something like that happening.
Right.
Anything that Toby came down. Toby came down after we had kind of went flying down the hill because Toby's the one that had this big, like 10 million candlelight powered lantern spotlight. Toby, what was going through your mind as you came down through there?
Well, I was just coming out of the woods with Joel, and we just about got up to our base camp area there, and that's when I got the call from Jody on the radio to make tracks to your point ASAP. So, and I had all my gear on me yet. I was still, like I said, coming out of the woods. So I ran as fast as I could, which wasn't all that fast. But when I was thinking by the tone of Jody's voice that someone was hurt. The situation seemed pretty frantic at the time, and so I came flying down the hill. Didn't fall on my face, thank God. But when I got down there, we started, took the spotlight out and were shining in the areas where they had seen the eye shine previous, and we didn't pick anything up, but I could tell the adrenaline was definitely pumping, between the four of you.
Right.
When I came on the scene. So I mean, my general not being there, not seeing what you guys all encountered, just adding up all the evidence after the fact, and it could very well be that there was a creature down there. And the most significant part of that scenario is the stick throwing. Like you said, I don't see how a bear would be able to throw a stick because, from how you described it, the stick came up from the bottom of the ravine.
Right.
Well, and I think it's also
from a lower elevation.
And I think it's also important to note, and nobody has said this yet, the stick throwing thing came not long after Billy picked up this huge rock, and he chucked it in the direction of Eyeshine.
Right.
And there was more than one stick and also this huge rock. And after he threw the rock, I remember looking at Billy and saying, that thing better not come back, because if it does, somebody's going to get hurt. But yeah, I mean, then all of a sudden, it wasn't long after that stick came.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it was definitely exciting. DB, I think you're probably overrun with questions from the chat room, so I'm going to let DB come on here.
Yeah, no, not really overrun. Scott A. asked a while back, what were the recordings the group captured, and there has been a little bit of talk about that. Anybody want to elaborate any more about the recordings?
Well, there was. Go ahead, Billy.
Well, I think that first night we did hear and probably have recorded some wood knocks, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I remember that on the first night. I also remember Saturday night we had what found to be some whooping type noises. However, I will not rule out that wasn't someone doing them. Because, like we said, there were several groups out there, and they sounded very human-like to me.
Yeah, I'll comment on those. Joe and I were closest to those other whoops or hoots, if you want to call them that. I would say with over 90% certainty those were human.
Okay.
And they were terrible. Jody needs to give some lessons on how to do human vocalizations because when he does one in the woods, you cannot tell the difference.
Right.
And when these other guys or gals started chiming in, it was horrendous. And it was Joe and I actually started laughing. But I did talk with Joel yesterday, and his recorder did pick those up. So we'll be able to maybe post those somewhere and show people or let the people hear how not to do vocalization in the woods. But yeah, Jody's got that down. That's for sure.
Go ahead, DB.
I'd like to have a recording of that. Elusive One asked a couple of questions. You were talking about eye shine, and he wanted to know if there was any blue eye shine or was it all red eye shine?
It was all white. What I saw was white.
Yeah, what I saw was white.
Okay. And he also wanted to know how late you stayed out.
Each night was different. We didn't turn in Saturday evening. We didn't turn in until I remember not getting back in till like 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Friday night, it was about the same time, probably about 2:30 in the morning. And then Thursday night, I think, was the earliest we turned in, if I remember correctly, because everybody was tired from the trip down there.
Right.
So I think, I don't even remember. Melissa, do you remember what time we left
Thursday night?
Yeah.
Thursday night, I think we broke early. I think it was around 1, maybe midnight, 12:30, 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I know it wasn't as late as the other times.
Wayne just said 12:30, 1 o'clock. We broke camp. So.
All right.
Well, there's one more,
and
that is, how many wood knocks did you guys get when you were getting the wood knocks?
Well, it varied. I mean, sometimes I think we got, 2 and 3?
Give me a description of, what it was like, 2 or 3 at a time?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. I mean, if you guys think anything different,
Well,
no,
all I can say is Thursday night, when we heard the wood knocks after we were investigating that structure, those were probably the only wood knocks that I would even consider maybe being legitimate, because I was off. I separated myself from the group for a while, and I just heard them faintly. And I radioed back to them. I'm like, guys, I just heard 3 wood knocks. Why don't you guys try a couple? So I think you guys wrapped off 3, and we got 3 back right away. And I think you guys did 1, and then we got 1 back, and then you guys did some more, and then it was done. We had no more replies after that. And, obviously you can't say with any certainty if it, what it was, or if it was in another group. But, human nature, you usually always reply to them. If it's a human doing it, you reply back to what you just heard, and they did just stop. But, that was 2 3s and a 1. And, Friday and Saturday, there was just so many people around. I would say they were all human wood knocks on that night, on those 2 nights. But
one last question from Elusive One. He wanted to know, did you do any sound blasting?
Oh, yes. Tell them all about it, Toby.
Yeah, we did that on Thursday night, the first night there. And we did a variety of whoops and screams. And we did hear, and this was confirmed by everyone in the group, actually. Joe and I were up in the parking area on that particular night, and we heard 2 whoops, and they weren't replies to the call blasting. They were completely separate on their own. And Joe and I both looked at each other, and we both agreed they sounded very primate-like. I think you guys down in the ravine there heard a couple more than Joe and I did. I think Wayne said somewhere to the tune of 4. But we only heard 2. And so, we did do some call blasting, though.
Yep. That we did. Is that all of them, DB?
Yep, that's all of them.
Right. Good. I was afraid I was letting them accumulate on you.
No, man. It's all good.
That's good. Good deal. Well, I tell you, I think everyone here that has talked tonight has expressed probably the main point of this whole thing, and that is that we have a wonderful group of people who work very well together, are very good at what they do, and I don't think we could have asked for a better group of folks. So I thank each and every one, because each and every one of you made me have a great experience. And I'm sure that's the way everyone feels here.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, half of the experience is enjoying the people around you and just being able to enjoy the time in the woods. And nothing's worse than spending time around people that are never happy. They're, that you just don't get along with. And I can't. And we all had different personalities. Somehow, some way, I don't know how, but I mean, this group just meshed. And it was extraordinary to just be witness to it, and I'm really glad. I'm really, really happy. I mean, people were there to research. They were They were there to try to either prove or disprove this animal, and that was the main focus. There was no politics. There was no, fighting and bickering and all this other stuff. They were just there to research and have fun.
Right. So,
and when we weren't researching, we had a ton of fun, and we sometimes even had fun in the field. So,
right.
It just, that's part of it, especially when you expend so much time and energy and money to get to something like this. It shouldn't feel like work, It should feel like something you enjoy doing.
Yeah, I want to thank everyone who was there as well. Like you said, Melissa, the way things went off without a hitch was absolutely amazing. Yeah, I know you don't find that very often, in doing what we do, but and a big thank you to you, Wayne, and Billy for really setting everything up. It was very nice to be able to drive 10 hours and not have to worry about finding a place to stay and, where I was going to sleep and all that. I was able to just grab my gear and head to the lodge, and I was set for the entirety of the stay. And I don't know if you talked about it, but Mel put on one hell of a casting seminar on Saturday down at Hozak's Cave or whatever. But Oh my God, that was amazing. That was worth the trip for sure. I learned so much. I'm being serious. The attention to detail is just absolutely amazing. So I want to thank everyone for just getting along and the camaraderie and all that. It was worth it.
Yeah, it was great. Any closing thoughts from you, Jody? Jody still with us? Or is Jody sleeping?
Oh, Jody said thank you.
Jody must have disappeared.
Jody said thank you. Oh, Wayne says thank you.
Oh.
And I can confirm this. JC is the best Bigfooter in the world.
Oh, man.
Well, how much did you get paid?
I love that guy. Oh, he saved me about $500, I think, on Saturday night. So
that is true. That is
I
true.
tried to give him a hug, but he wasn't about the hug at that stage. So, but I just want to say thanks, JC. You're the man.
JC, it was funny because Toby had come down that hill so fast that he had lost his GPS. It fell out of his pocket. And JC had come down pretty much the same way Toby had, and as he was coming down, he kicked something. He looked down, and it was his GPS. So we're all down there looking. We're trying to come back out looking for Toby's GPS. And then JC's like, I don't know what he said. He said, "Are you looking for something?" Or something. And
I think he said, "Quit talking and get up here. I have your GPS."
Toby says, "If you got my GPS, what'd you say?"
I said, "I'm going to give you a big hug." So I got up there, and as soon as I was just about to, wrap my arms around him, he just gives me the backside. He wasn't feeling the love, I guess, but oh well.
He was upset because we didn't get to see Bigfoot. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, before we close out the show, real quick, guys, we have a doozy of a show next week. We've got a fella by the name of Dave. Dave from Kentucky. And if anyone has read the recent, some of the recent posts that DB has put out on the Bog Squatcher, you'll know who Dave from Kentucky is, right, DB?
Yeah, Dave had a really up close and personal encounter with a Bigfoot that was pretty intense. And I know when you hear him tell the story, you'll get a feeling for just how intense it was for him. Right. So that ought to be something that'll be you don't want to miss. That'll be a good one.
That's going to be a good one. So that's next week, folks. Next Monday night. Everybody, Melissa, Wayne, Toby, Jody, Jace, everybody that's on the line, everybody that came, thanks a lot. Appreciate y'all coming on the show. I think it went real well, and everybody enjoyed it.
Thanks for having us, Billy.
Thanks so much.
Yep, thank you, sir.
Wayne says bye. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Well, DB, there's another one under our belt.
That's right. They just keep coming, and then we keep finishing them, and I don't know how it happens.
I know, and we always think to ourselves, man, do we got enough material to go for 90 minutes?
And then we do. Turns
and
out
we do. So,
yeah.
It went real well. So we thank everybody for tuning in every Monday night. Without you guys, we wouldn't have a show.
That's right. Well, we'd just be talking to ourselves.
That's right, which we do, but
yeah,
funner
we
when
do
there's
that
other
anyway.
people listening, you know.
That's right.
So anyway, DB, I don't have anything else other than, and I need to keep remembering to do this because when we get in radio show mode, I forget. But
yeah.
Folks, me and DB are based in the state of Virginia. And obviously, if you're in Virginia and you've had a sighting or you've had some type of encounter and you really don't know what it was or you know what it was, please get on the website, get on sasquatchwatch.net. On there, you will find a encounter report form along the left side. Click on the tab, fill out the form. All of the information remains anonymous. We do not give out the information. It stays with us. The only time that information is shared is if you wish for it to be shared. We won't even put it on the database without your permission. So if you've had a sighting or an encounter or you know someone who has and they give you permission, please feel free to fill out that form. And send it in to us, and then I will email you back or call you back, whichever method that you like, and we'll talk about it. There's also a hotline on the website. You can call the hotline and leave a message. Whatever's easier for you is fine. So we encourage you to do that. We know that a lot of people are a little reluctant to tell about these things, but it's your encounter and your sighting that's going to help us close in on this mystery and learn what we're dealing with out here. So anyway, also don't forget to check out DB's blog, because if you want some good reading, he's got the blog that you want to read. And I believe that is at www.blog. Go ahead and tell them, DB, because I'll get it wrong.
I would get it wrong too, so I'm going to click real fast. It's HTTP, then your 2/ thingies, and blogsquatcher.blogspot.com.
There you go.
Blogsquatcher.blogspot.com. And I have a lot of stuff I talk about there. And before we go, I had a thought. Now this thought is just ridiculous, but it's fine for now because we're on archive. But you guys were talking about how those fixed structures were so close to where people could see it, and so elaborate and obvious that it had to have been made by people. And I was just thinking to myself, wouldn't it be funny if the Bigfoot were like, oh, screw it, these people keep messing with us, let's just put one of these right here. Because Salt Fork has had this, Bigfoot researcher, hordes come down on them for, gosh, it's got to be more than 10 years now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that was just a frivolous thought.
Well, you never know. I mean, who are we to say? I mean, there were some details there that kind of indicated it was made by human hands.
Like a Clark's bar wrapper stuck under one of them.
Well, there wasn't so much that, but it was certain things that we'd found there of, certain types of square knots and things like that pretty much indicated it was.
Knots?
Yeah, I don't think Bigfoot took Boy Scout classes.
I don't think so either, and I've never heard of knots being used in any of the, structures that are thought to be legitimate. But that brings up another point which we didn't touch on during the live show, but it would be a point that maybe we want to bring up someday. And it's this weird situation where one Bigfoot group will do something to another Bigfoot group for reasons that I know you and I can't really fathom. We don't understand why it happened or what the motive would be or even what the payoff is.
Yeah. Yeah, that would make that, and folks, we will do that in the near future. We'll have a show or we can discuss just that subject, you know, and that
Yeah.
can kind of go along with why do people hoax?
Right.
You know, why do they hoax? I don't know that. I can't figure it out, but they do.
Yep.
So, anyway, that'll be a subject for a future show. But, you know, next week I think we're going to have fun with Dave. That's going to be a great show.
Yeah, that'll be a great one. Everybody tune in for that. It's going to be worth your money.
That'll be for sure. All right, DB, well, I have nothing else, and if you don't have anything else, then we'll go ahead and sign off this show for tonight, and thank everyone for listening.
Nope, I got nothing else, so thanks, everybody. It's another great show.
And good night, everyone. See you next week.
A legend silently stalks the forest around the world, leaving giant man-like footprints in its wake. Skeptics scoff while the true believers search for the answers, and those who have seen it will never forget. Monday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, Blog Talk Radio. Billy Willard and the Blog Squatcher present Sasquatch Watch Radio. Your hosts Billy Willard and Dee Donlin bring you 60 minutes of the latest news and information, newly discovered evidence, and interviews with those searching for the truth and those who have seen it. Do you believe? Want to know the truth? It's out there waiting. Monday nights, 9 p.m., Blog Talk Radio. Sasquatch Watch Radio. Sit down, hold on tight, get ready, because it is about to go down. blogtalkradio.com/Sasquatch Watch Radio.